Inferno, Canto 9. Dante, alarmed at some doubts expressed by Virgil as to their success in forcing an entrance into the city of this, is comforted by the assurance of his guide that he has been the road before and knows it well. Appearance of the Furies. An angel sent from heaven opens the gate of the city. The poets enter and find it full of tombs intensely heated by fire, in which are punished the arch-heretics.
That hue which coward fear spread o'er my face, when I beheld my master backward turn, caused him his own emotion to repress. As one who listens he attentive stood, for with his eye he could not far discern. Through the black air and through the heavy cloud, he then began. To triumph in this fight behoves us still, unless such mighty aid, oh, would that he already were in sight. Full well I saw his closing words conveyed a sense at variance with what first he said, and fain would cloak the doubts he had betrayed. Nathless, his speech with terror filled my breast, for haply from his broken words I drew a more alarming sense than they possessed. Down from that circle of the dread abyss, where loss of hope alone the spirits rue, doth any e'er descend so low as this? I made inquiry, and he answered thus. It rarely happens that the road I go hath e'er been ventured on by one of us. 'Tis true aforetime I have been this track, by fell Eric though conjured down below, who to their bodies called the spirits back. Short space had I put off my mortal clay, when to the circle whose base Judas holds, she sent me down to bear a soul away. That is the lowest place and most obscure, and farthest from the heaven which all enfolds. I know the road, feel therefore thou secure. This marsh whence vapors rise so foul and rife surrounds that mournful city which denies all entrance save with the bitterness and strife. And more he said than memory can recite. With such deep fixed attention were mine eyes drawn to the castle of the flaming light. There on a sudden rising up I viewed 3 hellish furies, stained with blood they were, and female seemed their limbs and attitude. Green hydras twined their hideous wastes around, and serpents and cerastas formed the hair, whose mantling coils their savage temples bound. Then he who knew the horrid beldames well, attendant on the queen of endless woe, exclaimed to me, Behold the Erinnys fell. This is Megara on the left, the dread. Aletto weeps upon the right, and lo, between them stands Tisiphone. He said, no more. Each with her nails sore rent her breast, struck with her hands, and shrieked in such despite, that to the bard I clung, with fear oppressed. Haste, bring Medusa, change him into stone. All cried as they looked downward from the height, This comes of favor unto Theseus shown. Turn back, and from the Gorgon hide thine eyes. For shouldst thou look on her whom none withstands, vain were the hope again to view the skies. And thus the master spake. He sudden wheeled my body round, nor trusted to my hands, but with his own my countenance concealed. O ye with lofty intellects endowed, behold the secret lore intended here, which my mysterious minstrelsy would shroud. Now o'er the restless waves there came a sound, as of a mighty crashing fraught with fear, which shook both shores throughout the vast profound, like to the raging of a mighty wind, which rushing swift to cool some fervid zone, shatters the wood, and sweeping unconfined, tears off the boughs, beats down and hurls away. In clouds of dust advances proudly on, and fills the breast and shepherds with dismay. He loosed my eyes, and let their energies be turned, he said, high o'er that ancient scum, there where the most offensive vapors rise, as frogs before the hostile serpent fly. Swift through the water till to land they come, and each is buried in the mud. So I above 1,000 ruined souls surveyed, fleeing from one, who o'er the Stygian pass with feet unmoistened had his passage made. His left hand oft in front was seen to wave, the heavy air removing from his face, and this the sole fatigue he seemed to have. Heaven's messenger he was, I plainly saw, and to the master turned, whereat he straight made sign that I should bend in silent awe. Ah, what disdain methought he looks disclosed! Touched by his potent wand, the hostile gate flew instant open, nor his will opposed. Outcasts of heaven, O abject race, he cried, upon the horrid threshold as he stood, whence in you dwells this insolence and pride? Why do ye kick against the heavenly will, which never fails to make its purpose good, and oft hath caused you an increase of ill? What profits it gainst fate to butt the horn? Think how your Cerberus was overthrown, and how his jaw and gullet still are torn. Then back he turned along the filthy shore, nor spoke to us, but seemed e'en like to one by other care oppressed and troubled more than by the thought of him within his view. Fired by the hallowed words, with footsteps hold and firm assurance, we our way pursue. The city then we entered unopposed, and I, who was desirous to behold the state of those by such strong walls enclosed, soon as I entered, cast round my eyes. On every side a spacious district lay, replete with torment and with miseries, and as at Arles, whose Rhone scarce seems to glide, and as at Pola near Cinero's base, which bounding fair Italia laves her side, tombs thickly spread diversify the ground. E'en so vast tombs resembling these I see, save in the horrors which here were more abound. For scattered mid the graves were flames of fire, which heated them to such intense degree, that hotter iron no craft could e'er require. Their lids hung over them, and forth arose such dreadful lamentations, as declared how they who uttered them were racked by throes. Then I, O master, say what souls are here, who thus within these fiery vaults interred, their voices raise in sighs of deep despair. Here, with their followers of each sect, he said, dwell the arch-heretics, a concourse vast. More than thou thinkest in the tombs are laid. These monuments have less or greater heat, together buried, like with like are classed. And then, as to the right I turned my feet, between the tombs and ramparts high we passed.